they're probably a very important part of my development because I was so young.
Game project and then become
groomed.
friends, and indeed real friends. Often
I don't
know
think
on
so.
some
I just love MMOs. I'm stupid for MMOs. I play Final Fantasy XIV. I've played World of Warcraft. I've played Guild Wars 1, 2, and basically every area games MMO that was ever made. And recently, I played Ashes of Creation. It was garbage. I can't believe anyone waited 9 years for that. I can't believe anyone gave it any money. And thank God Steam refunded me. I mean, to be fair, I only paid $20, but it's a good thing that they refunded everyone. If you bought it on Steam and you haven't gotten the refund yet, make sure you send their support ticket and request a refund for that shitty game. Anyways, let's see what Josh Strife Hayes here has to say for us. Let me just move my chat, and then I need to bring up an overlay for the video. Hell yeah! Okay. Well, professional.
Ashes of Creation, a Kickstarter MMORPG which raised millions of dollars through a combination of private investment, Kickstarter support, paid for early access, and extremely expensive in-game shop items and bundles, promised players a complex, deep, and reactive world, and has shut down roughly 1 month after releasing into early access on Steam. And this news has shocked absolutely no one who has seen this story play out again and again and again. Game project overpromises.
So he's about to touch on it, but there have been a lot of MMOs that have gone on Kickstarter, and they've said things like, oh, we're going to make this game with these features, and then they raise like millions of dollars. And you would think, if a studio raises like $5 million, surely they can build whatever fucking game that they want, right? Well, that's not the case. MMOs are incredibly complex. They are so complex, it does not make sense how fucking boring MMOs are. If you play an MMO and you don't understand how boring it is, I have bad news for you. You are a very simple-minded person. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like to just go into the forest near Goldshire and you just want to kill pigs all day long, hey, that's your God-given right to do so. If you have fun doing that, have fun. Don't let me poop in your cereal or whatever. Your poop in your cornflakes. That's the phrase. If you have fun doing that, great. But MMOs are by far the most boring games on the planet. If you are a world first raider in Final Fantasy XIV, I have bad news for you. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. I don't care, and I play Final Fantasy XIV. I am an ultimate raider. I have cleared from Eden, from whatever the Yuri fight. I've cleared that. I forgot what it's called. Futures Rewritten Ultimate. Those games are boring. They're boring to watch. They're boring to play. And if you think that they're interesting, that's cool, but they're not. And it's crazy because these companies will spend millions and millions and millions of dollars and make kind of garbage games, but what makes MMOs really good is the community behind them. If you like playing games that have large communities that you can log in and see like 10 of your friends online and be like, yo, what's up guys? Anyone want to do your daily roulettes? And you're literally like just doing boring content, but at least you're doing boring content with other people. MMOs are fucking great for that. That's what MMOs are good for. Also, people in FF14 like to engage in certain kinds of activities that are 3-letter activities that stand for something roleplay. How do I know? I've done it. Anyways.
And raises money through hopes and dreams. People are skeptical and get haters, then the project dies, and yet it will continue to play out again many more times in our lifetimes because the MMORPG player base are desperate, trusting, and easily convinced a bright new...
True. Fucking true. If Square Enix were to come out and be like, guys, Final Fantasy 18, the next MMO, pre-order today, comes out in 2030, I would buy that shit in a heartbeat. Even if they said, guys, it's gonna have fucking blockchain, which look, it's Square Enix. Let's not put that past them. They could say shit like that, and as long as they promise it'll be a fun game with lots of like you know, good features that you want to play as an MMO, I'd be like, hell yeah, give me that shit. ArenaNet, subsidiary of NCSoft. I hate NCSoft. They are a terrible company. I don't care if they never sponsor me. That's fine. I don't give a crap. Ion 2 is gonna suck just like Ion 1 sucked. And I played Ion 1 on release. Guild Wars ArenaNet revamped Guild Wars 1, and I was so excited for that. I wanna play it all the time. I just wish I had some fucking time. Guild Wars 1 is such a good game, but I also know, I'm very aware that when I played Guild Wars 1 back in 2006, 19 years, 20 years ago. Holy shit, it's been 20 years. Yeah, that's been, maths. 2006, I played Guild Wars 1 20 years ago. I am fucking old. That was the best game ever, but I know if I played it today, I'd probably hate it. That's why I haven't. I'm like scared of like ruining my rose-tinted glasses. Anyways.
New future lays just beyond the horizon, and the next project will be the one, guys, for real, trust me, bro. But why does this keep happening? Why do kickstarted, crowdfunded MMORPG projects keep popping up, promising something amazing, taking loads of money off you, and then dying without...
Because the people who promised them don't understand what it takes to make an MMO. The people paying for them also don't understand what it takes to make an MMO. That's why. Not pre-watch, I know what he's gonna say.
Out giving you a game. And more importantly, why do people keep throwing money at them?
Because they're stupid.
This will be the one that finally delivers all its promises, as if we have no precedent for what is likely to happen. Well, I think I can explain it, at least a bit of it, and it's mostly to do with how these people that support these projects aren't actually buying a game. They're putting a down payment on a potential future community which involves them, because no current community does. Hello, I'm Josh.
There is something to be said about the launch day of an MMO. The launch day of an MMO, when it first comes out, especially if you were involved in the game before it fully released, really puts you in an interesting place in MMO communities. It puts you in a place where people not necessarily revere you, but it's assumed that you know more, that you're more interesting than you might seem. It's almost like being like, it's like the past version of being a Reddit mod. You don't actually fucking matter, but people think you do for some reason.
Strife Hayes. I make videos about MMORPGs.
I love Josh Strife
I cover
Hayes.
everything from games which released decades ago, like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, or The Elder Scrolls Online, up to the most popular MMORPGs of today.
Josh, just on the off chance that you like... On the off chance... There's a reason why I'm wearing the clown outfit, Josh. On the off chance that you see this video and you want to talk about old games together, I would love that. Also, if you hate me and want me to take down this video, just send me an email to my business email. It's linked in my Twitch. I really hope you don't hate me. That would actually make me genuinely sad. Okay.
Like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, and The Elder Scrolls Online. List hasn't changed, it will never change. But why? Why hasn't a new upstart game broken into the cycle and taken the player base away? Where is the WoW killer everyone keeps talking about? And why do Kickstarter MMORPGs keep promising the world, collecting millions of pounds of backers' money, and then not delivering?
Because gacha games make way more money and they cost way less to make. Hey, guys, guess what game I'm fucking playing? Arknight's Enfield. That game, amazing. I love it. Not an MMO, but it has an MMO budget. And because I'm playing it, I'm part of the problem. If you play more than 2 gacha games, consider quitting half of them. Or quitting at least all of them. It's just a thought.
And why will they keep doing this?
We're 2 minutes into the video. I've been yapping for how long?
This Ashes of Creation thing happened and why it will happen again, we need to look at the state of the genre as a whole, the general player base, the hardcore, terminally online people who keep saying they want a new MMORPG and why they want that, and then why it seems accepted that giving millions of pounds to a project which isn't playable is fine, but if an actual existing game asked for the same things, they'd be raked over the coals. So let's look at that. As usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch.
I remember when this list wasn't this hard to read. That's how long I've been watching Josh Strife Hayes.
To keep this channel alive, more information on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. And let's begin with something really direct. I don't really care about Ashes of Creation. I made a video 4 years ago called Don't Believe the Hype, where I was heavily critical of the game project back then as well. I've no interest in it because I knew it was going through the same motions I've seen others go through before. I'm not saying I knew all along.
I have never actually personally backed any of these Kickstarter MMOs because even as a kid, I kind of knew, and when I say as a kid, I was like 18 when this stuff like started, right? And I actually had like income because I was working. Even when I was younger, I knew that a couple $1 million was not enough to make a good MMO. Better MMOs with more massive budgets had already died in my lifetime. And at the end of the day, the only MMOs that prevailed were World of Warcraft. 14 wasn't even out when these things started. Well, it kind of was, but at 1.0 it was gonna die. The only MMO at the time was World of Warcraft. I don't play World of Warcraft yet. I want to. Actually, the next expansion, I'm thinking about playing it. If you want to see me play World of Warcraft, let me know in my Discord. I'm just kidding. I know you guys don't want to watch me play that crap. I'll play it off stream. But yeah, every MMO dies. It doesn't matter how good it is. Like WildStar died. WildStar was a great looking game. It had a timeless art style, and it's coming back now, I've heard. I don't know if it's a private server or not, but like that died pretty quickly. Defiance died really quickly. The show was actually kind of good. If you haven't watched Defiance, you should watch Defiance. It's on Sci-Fi. But yeah, and then Guild Wars 2, like, it's around. Its player base isn't massive or anything. It's definitely no World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, but it's there. And you know what? It looks like a good game. I just wish I could like it. I think I have a problem with like the way it's tied to Guild Wars 1, and that kind of hurts my soul because I just want Guild Wars 1, but like prettier.
Or I told you so, I'm saying that I'm hedging my bets based on the evidence we have. And when I heard it shut down because the director, Stephen Sheriff, was removed and the board of directors were making changes he couldn't agree with, I wasn't particularly upset. I did find it odd that Stephen has repeatedly...
So another thing about Ashes of Creation is that Stephen Sheriff is kind of a known scammer. And that's what was weird to me. That's kind of why I never initially like tried to back Ashes of Creation, even though it sounded really cool back then, is that people just kind of knew that he was like kind of scummy, and he's just like not a good person. And I guess people were so deluded by the fact that he was promising something very grand, very amazing, very fantastic, something that we've had but better, something that we've already loved but more. And yeah, a lot of people said that Ashes of Creation would be coming around. I know Josh Strife Hayes linked to another creator. Their name is Kira TV. They used to cover a lot of like crypto scammers and like failed Kickstarters and things like that. They have recently talked about Ashes of Creation. So when I link this video, you should also go check out their video, because apparently they will have more information about Ashes of Creation if you give a crap about that. I totally get it if you don't, though, because I kind of don't.
He said they don't have investors they answer to, and then the board of directors, according to the incorporation documents, was him. But actually, no, the company was sold a few months ago, and now they do because it was sold to private equity. And remember, the original Kickstarter had the clause, if the game doesn't release, they'll refund everyone, which sounds great. And then just over a month ago, the game released on Steam, meaning this clause is now legally covered. Awfully convenient that. It's almost like it was planned specifically to do that, but I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Look, this is a complex thing. I don't have visibility behind the scenes for any actual sources. I'd suggest you go and watch Kira TV's video on the whole mess. He's been following this way longer than I have and has a far deeper understanding than I do. He makes videos with patience and integrity. I don't care about Ashes of Creation specifically. But what I do care about is, why do people keep giving projects like this money? Why is it a cycle? Why have we seen MMORPGs pop up, promise the world, take money, and then die again and again? Why do people point out the risks with these projects, the issues, the red flags, and yet the supporters rabidly defend their project, often bullying or harassing people who speak out against it? Why are people so emotionally invested in something which doesn't actually exist? To understand how we've got here, and why we will be here again and again no matter what we do, I need to say something people may not like. But allow me to explain. MMORPGs aren't good games. At least not...
Wow, it's almost like I said that. They're not. They're really not. They're really boring. I remember this one game. It was called Arcade. It was made by this Korean developer called XL Games, I think. It was just your standard tab targeting game. The combat was mid at best. It had furries, which is a plus or a minus for some people. It was a plus for me. I played one of the furries. And the game was just boring. All you did in it was claim land in the game, go mining, and then sometimes you make these trade packs. And then you just walk them across the world. That's it. You just walk them across. Sometimes you get attacked. Sometimes, so you have to defend the thing. But most of the time you're just walking across the world. Who the fuck thinks that's fun? Nobody!
From a game design point of view, where maximizing the fun at a moment-to-moment level is the priority. I say this as someone who loves the genre and has thousands of hours in multiple games. The moment-to-moment gameplay is mediocre at best in most of them, and kind of dull in some of them, because the gameplay was never really the focus. The main selling point was this is a virtual world. You can have a second life in it. There's even a game literally called Second Life because it understands this.
You know, that game's still up.
Target combat is perfectly functional with lots of people, and action combat can be engaging and flashy and exciting. If an MMORPG released as a single-player RPG, it would likely be slated, as players would say it's way too grindy, way too many reskinned enemies or formulaic quests, dungeons or bosses. And that's because one of the focuses of the MMO is...
Alright, I'm going to describe an MMO. If you've ever played them, tell me which one I'm talking about. You start the game, level 1, you go outside to a forest, you either chop trees to start your gathering skills, or you start killing monsters. Your first ability is on your hotbar. You press the 1 key on your keyboard, and you will do some kind of very basic move, and sometimes you can do a second move where... if you do the first move, the second move does more damage than if you had just used it without doing the first move. Which game did I just describe? That's right, all of them.
Having a lot of stuff. And the easiest way to make a lot of stuff is to make the player do the same stuff a lot. Repetition and grind is kind of the point. It's a genre aiming at a player base who like the grind. And what makes the grind enjoyable was always the player base itself. Now, this doesn't mean always actively interacting with other people. I've made a video on why many people play MMORPGs solo. I do myself many times. But it's the presence of other people within a world which makes the world...
There's actually nothing wrong with wanting to play an MMORPG solo. The thing about that is that sometimes you just want a world that's inhabited by other people so they can see your achievements. Nobody cares, to be clear. Nobody gives a crap about what ultimate raid you've cleared, or what mythic level you're at, or if you have like the super like 0.1% chance drop item. Nobody cares. But it's cool that you can show it off. And it's cool that you can leave your character AFK in Limsa Laminza and just sit there with your ultimate weapon hanging out and just like, yeah, I cleared this. Did you clear it? And the answer is, for 1% of players, yes. Yes, they have.
Pleasant to exist within. You can talk to other people, chill together, work together, or enjoy the human ambience created by knowing other people can see your achievements and you're progressing through and contributing to a world other people also love. You have value and connection, even if not actively explored, which means the biggest strength...
Raven, I am just realizing I don't know what you're gonna have to do to key me out, because this is blue. Get fucked.
Strength of the MMORPG genre was the community around it. Now, playing games with other people online used to be a novel thing, and MMOs really tapped into this as their central focus, their core design. play with other people. And as the years have moved on, that's not novel anymore. And now the MMORPG genre is trying to compete in a mechanical way against other games like MOBAs or Battle Royales, which was never really the point. The MMORPG was never trying to be the most technically advanced game, it was trying to be a digital third space, a social hangout with mechanics attached. I see MMORPGs as old-fashioned chat rooms with a game attached. And it's that community that played them, which people keep coming back for. You can enjoy...
Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, you just want to get on a game, see 10 of your friends, and be like, yo, who wants to do stuff together? And then I'm sure a few of them will say, hell yeah, let's do those things together. Even if you think doing dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV, a game I play, is boring as hell, which I think it is, doing it with other people is actually kind of fun.
You're a mediocre game just like a mediocre job because the people around you make it fun. In fact, whenever I ask someone why they stopped playing any specific MMORPG, it's very rarely because of a technical or mechanical reason. It's often because their mates stopped playing, the community dried up, the social aspect slowed down. Indeed, the MMORPG genre has had the same few games dominate it for decades, not because they are the best designed video games, but because they are the best designed communities. It's a symbiotic connection. The MMORPG game creates the community, and the community supports the game. Remove one, you often lose the other. Now we have to understand...
I mean, that kind of happens for every game. It doesn't matter if it's like... it doesn't really matter if it's an MMORPG, or if it's a shooter game, or if it's a gacha game, for example. If there's no community, you don't want to play the game. If you go on SteamDB and you see that no one is playing a game, especially a game that involves other people, then you're not going to want to play it, period. It's like, if Valorant tomorrow had 100 players playing the game and nobody else is playing, nobody else was going to play, it doesn't matter that it's made by Riot. The game's done. Nobody's going to play it. That 100 players will not be there tomorrow because there's no one to play with. Even like single player games suffer from this. Like really good games, the really like evergreen games, Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, those kinds of games, those will always be played by somebody at some point. But like games that aren't that popular, games that aren't AAA, like super like well-reviewed games, once nobody is playing them, once nobody cares about them, nobody cares about them. They die the final time when everyone forgets about it.
The vast majority of people who engage in a thing, be that a game, a sport, a music, a hobby, anything really, they don't engage with it beyond the thing itself. They are casual fans, and that's totally okay. People may listen to a band and enjoy the music, but anything further, such as knowing all the band members' names, their earlier works, which brand of equipment they use, that kind of doesn't matter to a casual enjoyer. That's more of a hardcore fan thing. People can enjoy an actor without knowing anything about the actor's personal life, and people can enjoy a video game without engaging with the forums or subreddit or real-life meetups of that game. And this means the people who log into an MMORPG, enjoy it, and log out are the casual fans. They aren't posting on forums or watching Twitch streamers or complaining about patch notes on YouTube videos. That's reserved for the more...
I have been actively playing Final Fantasy XIV since the end of Endwalker. The beginning... Or no, it's not the end of Endwalker. The end of Shadowbringers and the beginning of Endwalker. I don't post on the forums. I don't watch Final Fantasy XIV streamers, except when there's drama. I love watching when Xenos sits there and yaps about Final Fantasy XIV drama. That bald man is so funny when that crap happens to him. And yeah, everything other than the game itself, I just don't care about, because I'm just busy playing the game. If I didn't like the game, I wouldn't play it. And if I don't play it, then I'm not going to read forums about it. Like, the only reason I go to the Enfield subreddit is just because I want information about Enfield. I'm enjoying the game. That means I don't need to engage with the rest of it.
And franchised hardcore. So when people tell me every MMORPG player is unhappy with the genre because they see a few people complaining online or a few people looking for a new game constantly, I have to remind people you're only seeing people so enfranchised they actively engage beyond the thing itself. The people who are happy with whatever game they play are just playing that game. I have loads of friends who are totally happy playing RuneScape or World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings Online, and when I ask if they would leave their game for
Josh, nobody plays Lord of the Rings online. Don't be silly.
A new MMORPG that is technically better, they say no. Not because they think the game they play already has the best graphics or the best music or the most amazing, incredible systems, but because to them, it's not just the game on a technical level, but the community and connection to the game which matters to them. So while this video is going to look into the type of people who give money to ambitious MMORPG projects, please understand we're talking about a subset of people within a subset of players within a subset genre. So we have a genre of game which often lives or dies on its...
Did you know that in games like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft, there is high-end content. This is content for the biggest brain of the MMO players, which honestly, you're still kind of smooth-brained. But this content is the hardest content these games offer. Typically, it's not a lot of the player base that engages with this content. I'm not sure what it is for World of Warcraft's Mythic Plus-like content, but I can tell you that a very, 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 very small subsection of the Final Fantasy XIV player base actually does Ultimate rating, or even does Savage rating. It's like less than 5% of the players that do Savage rating, and I think it's even less than that for the people who do Ultimates. And those people, like, honestly, they don't matter to the game. Those people who go on the forums and complain about this or that, or you're such a small subset that you actually don't matter. And that's often why you don't get heard, because not enough people complain. Kind of feels like real life sometimes.
Community, with the people who are happy and comfortable in whatever their community is, just enjoying being there. This means, from my experience of talking to many MMO players, the people constantly pining for a new MMO to come along and change things, the players most desperate to jump...
Just to be clear, when I say you don't matter, I mean you don't matter financially. If you stop playing tomorrow, it wouldn't hurt Square Enix's, like, you know, bottom line. They'd still be making money probably. But you do matter in the sense that, like, you probably know what you're talking about when you do bitch about the game. And if the developers do decide to listen to you, it's probably because you complained loud enough. But some companies are so slow in getting things done that they add chat boxes 10 years after the game comes out, when you were asking for it years ago. Isn't that cool?
Jump into something new are often the players who aren't part of an established community in any other game. They don't feel they have a stable or solid guild or clanmates, sometimes even consistent online friends. They're often players who are trying to play MMO games without the support of also being in the community of those games, which means they have to judge the games not as a social hangout, but as a mechanical experience, and that's always been a weaker aspect. The players who are...
If you're one of those people who does, like, play Final Fantasy XIV solo for the most part, odds are you're still in, like, some kind of free company, whether it's just a casual free company or one where, like, people are actually willing to help you if you ask for the help. You're often still in a free company, a community of some kind, even if you don't really, like, play the game with those people. The people who truly play alone have a free company of just one person themselves, and they don't engage with the rest of the community at all in any shape or form. I actually do not understand.
Constantly looking for the next big thing are often wrongly convinced it's the mechanical aspects of an MMO which will then build the community, and not the players constantly sticking together and interacting despite the mechanics not being the best. This means a new MMO won't capture players by just promising new mechanics, because the happy players are content playing whatever their game is, but promising a new community to be a part of. That's a human need. That's a very attractive marketing angle. That's
why I play VR chat. That's why I'm in this game right now, VR chat, is because there's a community here. There's no game in VR chat. There's nothing to do in VR chat other than, I guess, look at the pretty world. But at the end of the day, they're just, you know, video game worlds. They're only interesting when you bring your friends along, can comment on it, and maybe, you know, put sausages and things. I'm just kidding. But that's why people play VR chat. If you're not a VR chat player, That's the reason people play VR chat, is because there's a community of some kind for you here. If you're a furry, there's a ton of furry groups. If you like maids, there's a maid cafe. I work at one. If you just want to go and drink with people and watch dancers, there's a place for that too. It's called Lux Nova. They're doing other theater things pretty soon. That's really cool. Observer's going to be very exciting. But like, yeah, if you like flying planes and you want to do plane sims with other people, guess what? VR chat fucking has that. It's a bit janky, but it's there. So if you're just looking for community, that's why people play VR chat, for the community, and also because it's in VR and you can be a silly clown, whatever the fuck I am.
Why we see a systemic focus on highlighting all the ways these new games will have interconnected communities and how you as a player will matter. There's a reason whenever a new MMORPG project needs funding, it focuses on marketing phrases like player-driven, player-created, skill-based, your story, guilds, clans, build your own city, game reacts to your actions, living, breathing world, non-repeatable quests, your choices matter. It's because those designs put the individual into a position of power within the game world, and being in a position of power is a strong desire for someone who wants to be important in an MMO, but doesn't feel that in any of the current ones. But then a new game gets announced, a brand new MMORPG which will change things. It will be amazing, incredible, have systems that revolutionize the genre, change gaming forever. It will be everything you want it to be, and the people without a stable community in one of the existing games get very excited, because to them this isn't just a new game. It's a brand new chance at being involved in a community, one which doesn't yet exist and so hasn't had a hierarchy set. When a Kickstarter asks for money for this brand new virtual world that will be everything you imagine, many people who support them aren't buying a product. They're buying a dream, placing a down payment on a future friendship group, investing in a social connection they don't have or haven't found in any current game. This is why announced games have such outlandish and incredible sounding design, 1,000-player battles, unique player housing systems, reactive worlds, player-driven economies on a micro level. A future which changes based on your decisions, skill-based everything.
A million games have advertised those features, and a million games have died advertising those features. There is no game that exists on the market where the economy is actually controlled by the players. It doesn't exist. And you might say, but WoW has an auction house. Final Fantasy XIV has a market board. Those things don't matter. On the grand scheme of things, they don't matter. And they can easily be bypassed. 1,000-player battles? Oh, well, great. What kind of CPU do I need to run that? I remember when Warhammer came out, and they advertised like huge RVR fights. Those were terrible. Every time one happened, half the people crashed. That wasn't a fun experience for anyone. I can't imagine at the end of its life it was still fun, even when no one was playing it.
Everything. These mechanical features are indeed something the MMORPG genre doesn't usually go for, because of the technical limitations, or the mechanical quality was never really the focus of the genre. These claims of amazing things are for marketing, to grab headlines, and importantly, to give the investors and the evangelical supporters something to preach to the non-believers about what the game will have once the game is actually made. Because saying, I'm investing in this because I want to feel part of a community and haven't found one I gel with and feel this may create one I can be involved with from the start, thus grandfathering myself into the social fabric of society within the game and being important, doesn't flow as much as, the game is going to be sick because it has cool features your game doesn't have. It not only
who cares if the game doesn't have X feature? As long as the game is good. That's the thing about a lot of these MMOs, is that they'll advertise lots of like random features. I might be going off a tangent. I was kind of reading chat while I was like listening to Josh Strife Hayes. The best MMO was pre-paved wall Wizard 101. And no, this is absolutely not nostalgia. You know what? I've heard only good things about Wizard 101, like pre-paywall. I think it's still like considered pretty good nowadays. I could be wrong about that. And the same with Genshin. I hate that I love its combat system. Yeah, I gambled on waking up from a nap and I lost. Yep, that's how it is. Ashivo, yes, I am being a clown. Backing something on Kickstarter is one of the stupidest financial decisions you could ever make, right next to crypto and gacha. Hey, Aussie, did you ever see a Kickstarter for rocket shoes? They were these powered skates. They had one wheel or two wheels on each side of your ankle, and I think there was it's just the two wheels on each side of your ankle. And these actually worked. This was a real product. This actually got shipped. I was one of the first 5 people to back that because I looked at that and I'm like, sick. I want that. I paid $200 for them. They were garbage. Because the wheels were so like rigid, if there was even a tiny bump on the road, you could feel it. It was terrible. But they worked. They did technically work. If I went to a skate park with them, they were awesome. If I tried going down the sidewalk with them, I would probably die. Anyways, good morning, Raven.
Creates the us versus them mentality, but then actively supports it. This is why communities instantly spring up around unreleased games or projects, with people suddenly interacting, meeting other supporters, chatting via the Kickstarter comments, Discord groups which are formed, forums, YouTubers start to cover the information, communities begin to form around the game even though it doesn't exist, and anyone who is critical of the game often gets attacked by that community, because to the community that is forming, that game isn't just a game, it's the start of a new symbiotic relationship between game and community, community and game, and critiquing any part of that process is attacking the process, preventing it from happening. And the process has to happen to form those connections, to maintain them, for them to be important at all. Because the game needs to exist for their community, their social group to exist. And if they have so much time...
Like, are you guys watching this gameplay? Who the fuck wants to play this game? Who the fuck wants to just go into a forest, target some kobold with your tab button, and then just sit there and just spam this fucking, like, the same freaking button over and over again? That doesn't seem fun. And yet here I am thinking about pre-ordering the next expansion of World of Warcraft.
To dedicate to this new one that doesn't even exist yet, it's often because they haven't found stability in another. The groups of players which form around a new...
That's why I played Guild Wars 1 for so long. I played it for 10 years. The first 2 years of that, I was not in a stable guild. The next 3 to 8, or the next 3 to 10 years, I was in a stable guild. I started in Eisenai. If you're a Guild Wars 1 player, you know you're gonna know all these names, and I know that nobody in here plays Guild Wars, so I'm gonna say them anyways. I started in Eisenai. They merged into the 7 Deadly Sins, and we were the biggest guild that controlled the Kurzik, the House to Kurzik? House to Helzer. We controlled the Kurzik forest, and we did that for years. We had a huge community, and it was so crazy being a part of it. And the fact is that that's what made the game fun. It was so fun because of that. Every day I would get on, I would do my daily 10,000 Kurzik points, which took about an hour every day for years. I would do that because I wanted to be a part of this community, because I had so many friends there and I had so much fun playing the game with them. And I'm so sad for people who've never had a community like that for that long, because all of those people were so cool, and they're probably a very important part of my development because I was so young.
Game project and then become friends, and indeed real friends, often know on some level that the project is the glue holding the community together. And if the project fails, the friendships will fail and fall away too. Think about how many times you've had work friends, then when you leave a job, you never see them again. It's the same principle, but with a game. Connection has value, and the people who support these projects
has a lot of value.
Make connections and do value them even though the game doesn't exist. And you're not wrong for valuing them. They are important.
Those connections are important. It's like me with VR chat. I liked VR chat. I started playing this past May, and I started really playing this past May. I played VR chat before that, but I started really playing this past May. I found this really cool group that was just about talking to people and hanging out with them and having a good time, and, like, you know, not being such a socially anxious, like, like hamster, and that was really great. I got a lot of my confidence that I have now today because of those people. And then I started going to other things. I made other friends. I started going to the maid cafe, started going to Lux Nova. And now I'm in a bunch of really cool communities, and I fucking love being in VR chat. I love coming on and hanging out and just being around other people, especially people that I call my friends. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on Twitch. I wouldn't be playing VR chat. I'd just be doing other things. I'd just be playing Enfield right now and working. That's it. Those connections drive you to do things that you wouldn't have normally done. You can see my mouse moving around as I move my head. Anyways.
Things. So why does this affect the MMORPG genre and player base so much? Disproportionately so. Why are MMORPG projects seeking millions in funding often more successful than, say, a smaller single-player game seeking far less? Well, if you want me to be candid and direct, it's because the MMORPG genre often encourages unhealthy play behaviors built around spending vast amounts of time inside it, and then rewards those who have strong community connections within the games, and thus access to stable and capable teammates to complete the harder content. This leads to a group of people who spend so long online they lose or damage real-life social connections. So when those players either burn out of a game, get kicked out of their community, or leave for any other reason, you've got a subset of hardcore gamers who often place online gaming above real-life socializing, who want to spend hours and hours a day inside a virtual world, who are desperate for a new community to be a part of, and want to be important within that community. But they've already gone through.
I'm going to talk about somebody. This person's kind of controversial, so I'm going to preface this by saying I don't agree with all of their opinions, but I know a lot about them because they used to play World of Warcraft. And if you know who I'm talking about already, well, you know, it's Asmongold. But the thing about that guy is that he is where he is because he played World of Warcraft. I watched some of his oldest videos about World of Warcraft because they were actual guides about World of Warcraft. I used to play the Burning Crusade on a private server. It was a long time ago. I met an online friend from that game. We played Burning WoW together. Definitely not a Blizzard sanctioned server. But if you really knew anything about him before he became the Cockroach Lord, then you probably know that he was in a lot of like stable communities, and at some point he became the leader of a lot of those communities. And if it weren't for those things, he probably wouldn't be where he is today. If it weren't for those things, that's the kind of thing. The communities that you surround yourself in, they influence you. They can change your life. The people that you choose to be around make you who you are at the end of the day. Everyone in my chat, I'm sure, everyone in the world probably has one or two friends that you look back on your friendship with them and you think, wow, that person really did influence me at some point. Maybe not a lot, maybe not everything about you, but maybe a little bit, right? I had this one friend in middle school, and he was such a fucking asshole. He was such a huge, like, he's just a douchebag. But he was a funny douchebag. And that's why people liked him. And I can't lie. Like, he has kind of influenced me. I try not to be a douchebag. But sometimes it's fun to be a little bit mean to your friends. As long as they know you're joking. But yeah, like the communities you're in, they really do change who you are as a person. They will alter the course of your life just because of the nature of, you know, our needs as human beings to be social and to be parts of groups.
Through the games that exist and haven't found what they're looking for. Often not because they haven't found a game they like, but because they're looking to be part of something beyond a game, part of a social group. And those isolated or displaced players are willing to throw money at the...
Nah, I don't need to say anything. Asmongold, if he ever watches this, he won't get mad.
Potential
I won't get crucified by him.
A world which doesn't exist. a world where they are who they want to be, because it happens in the future, where they could be anything. Marketing people in the audience will know you don't sell a product, you sell a lifestyle. As a product, an MMORPG game is a fading genre populated by an aging player base. But as a lifestyle, it's still a gaming connection that people want. And selling tickets to the next big thing grand opening gala is far more impressive and prestigious than waiting for the thing to open and then selling normal tickets. People want to be at the premiere because they get seen being at the premiere, and this makes them important within the community, which will hopefully form around the thing. Consider this. When a Kickstarter MMORPG, a project or game which does not exist and is not playable, gives people the opportunity to pay hundreds or even thousands of pounds to support it, people do. And people then defend doing so. Maybe they believe in the project, but more often...
I just want to say, for what I played for Ashes of Creation, I paid $20 because my region was cheaper than America. It was 40 in America. I paid $20. I did get a refund, by the way. I paid $20 to play Ashes of Creation. That was too much for the game that they had available. And that was too much for the game that was going to be available. I'm just saying, it looked like garbage. I actually bought, or I paid for most of Ashes of Creation for my editor. And at around the hour and 30-minute mark, I was like thinking to myself, I should tell them to refund this. I should tell them to refund this right now. It's so fucking bad. It's such garbage. And I felt really, really bad when we played it. And then we never touched it again. It was so bad. I don't know why anyone ever thought that game was gonna be good, let alone release.
I found it's because those people are buying the future fantasy of social involvement and a community they fit in. They are buying the potential of a dream. Now imagine if an existing MMORPG offered shop options of future things for hundreds or thousands of pounds, or things which may one day exist. The communities would hate that. They'd call it greedy, a scam. They'd say, why are you asking for money for a product which doesn't exist within a game which does? And then consider the absurdity of this. Why are
But that's what we do nowadays. We pay for games that aren't actually released. We fucking love doing that. Oh my god, how many early access games exist on Steam, and how many of them are actually gonna be real games? How many do you play? How many do you own? I've only bought one game on Steam that started in early access and actually released. And it wasn't even a normal game. It was a game. Raven, you're gonna have to edit that word out. It was Subverse, by the way. It was really good. Porn.
People more comfortable giving millions of pounds to a project which may possibly exist than giving the same amount of money to a project which actively currently does exist? It's because they aren't buying access to the game. They are buying the dream, and a dream is always perfect. Again, understand that an MMORPG player who is just happy and content with their current game and their current community is not giving hundreds or thousands of pounds to a project promising a new one. The people often supporting these projects at the highest price points are desperate for a community to belong in, and these projects know that. Giving money to a product which already exists means facing its flaws and facing the daunting task of ingratiating yourself into a community which already exists, climbing a social hierarchy which already exists, and accepting you may not be an important person straight away. You may fade into the crowd. It means dealing with social engagement where your value comes from you and you alone, and making friends as an adult is hard, especially when everyone else already has years of connection to each other. It's daunting. If you're coming from another MMORPG that you've played for years...
If you spend $10,000 on Ashes of Creation, can you, like, go into my chat? Right there. Is that it? Hold on. I need to check. Where am I on the screen? It's here. It's here. It's right here. Yeah. Can you just gift like 2,000 subs? Thanks.
It might mean unlearning mechanical systems and learning new ones, the embarrassment of failure.
Albion Online is a sandbox MMO.
Yeah, of course. Of course there's an Albion ad on a Josh Strife Hayes video. Why wouldn't there be? That just makes sense. This one's definitely targeted.
PG in which you write your own story instead of following a laid out path. Explore.
I think this game is actually good. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like isometric games. Like that's why I don't play RuneScape. It's just not my jam. I've heard Albion is good. I could be wrong about that. Let me know if you play it.
But when a game is brand new, everyone's suddenly in the same position. You're not the new guy, the outcast, or the extra anymore. You're suddenly one of the pioneers, the founders. You're in at the ground floor. And if the community grows, you won't just be some guy. You'll be one.
The thing is also is that the sooner you start playing, the sooner you can start grinding, the sooner you can start progressing in the game. It's like when you're raiding in like World of Warcraft, for example. Why would a guild want to take you raiding with them if you're not geared, so they have to gear you? Or instead, that guild could take someone who's already geared and not have to gear them. It doesn't... If you're the guild, of course you take the person who's already geared. Because then you can... That's gear you don't have to give to someone else. That's gear you can give to the rest of your members, and therefore grow your power further. That's another thing that starting an MMO early does, is that it lets you start as soon as you can. You will immediately have an advantage over anyone who starts 5 minutes after you. That's just how it is.
One of the originals, and that is a very attractive
and that means you can get a community
for people who don't currently have a community. But a new MMO, a brand new community, that's a new start. Everyone wants to connect. That's a fresh chance at being a someone, a chance at belonging. And if it's still being designed, maybe a chance to suggest tweaks and changes which will make it more like a game you once loved, to reclaim a level of familiarity. This is often why some of the highest, most expensive Kickstarter tiers have you designing aspects of the game. It's a way of saying, hey, not only is there a community, but you are important in it. This is another reason why so many Kickstarted MMORPGs often focus on the hardcore full loot PvP crowd, because those are often the players who, if not entrenched in a specific game long term, are so desperate to find a new community, because the games they latch onto often dwindle and die out, precisely because the design of them isn't conducive to holding a community long term. The players happy to ride the roller coaster of a theme park MMORPG, well, they're just doing that. And that's why the genre has been the same games for the past 10 years, because those are the communities which have endured, and that's why people will keep throwing money at new MMORPG projects, because those people haven't found a community they fit into yet, and the new game is promising to be just that. And that's why games almost never release, because the MMO genre is incredibly expensive, and even when they do, the community is small, and often proceeds to just keep getting smaller until it can't sustain itself and the cycle begins again. Another project appears, promising another dream, and people throw money at that one too. So the next time you see an MMORPG project like this, consider if you are being sold a dream of a potential future, and then try to wake up before deciding to give it your money. I firmly believe the MMORPG...
I think, personally speaking, every time, even like current games, games that are being played by people, games that are out, Final Fantasy XIV, for example, came out with a new expansion called Dawn Trail. And the players affectionately call it Yon Trail. You know why? Because honestly, this expansion was kind of not that good. The raids were okay. I really hated what was it, M6S, the one with the ads phase. I really didn't like that. But the ultimates were good. I liked from Futures Rewritten Ultimate. That was good. But otherwise, I didn't really care for the story a whole lot. The dungeons were just more of the same. The Occult Crescent was really, really terrible, especially when you consider that they have two systems that are already really good. Eureka and Bosra are my favorite content in that game, and somehow they fuck it up? What the fuck, Square Enix? Every time a game has an expansion, you're being promised something better, because it's the next update of your favorite game. You are being promised a dream that the game will be good. The game will continue to be good. The game will have more features and things for you to do. And therefore, your community won't disappear on you because they will also want to play the game.
RPG genre's greatest strength is not being the most technically advanced gaming experience, but the community within the games. Mechanically, all MMOs have glaring flaws. A brand new one won't change those. And a player desperate for a new MMORPG is often not crying out for a mechanical revolution within the game experience itself, but for a community to belong to experience the mechanics of the game with. This is why you won't see a WoW killer, no matter how mechanically advanced a new game is. Because it's never been about making a better game on a technical level. It's about displacing a community which has endured for decades, which you won't do. It's why City of Heroes was revived. It's why old school RuneScape exists. It's why EverQuest is more popular than EverQuest 2. The communities of those games endured. And if you as an MMORPG player are waiting for the next big thing, maybe understand that it might not actually be a new game you're waiting for. It might just be a new community within a game that exists right now, who would love to play that game with you and help you feel involved, connected, and wanted. Maybe in the future a new MMO will release and succeed. But until then, you don't need to give your money to people selling you a dream. When there are communities in games awake and playing right now who would love to have you. Go and find a community and have fun in a game which exists. Make those connections in the present instead of paying for a future which you may not get. Cheers for watching. Another massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who help this channel stay alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, Insta, and our Discord, a community you are welcome to join. And as always, have a great day.
So that was Josh Strife Hayes talking about MMORPGs and why people play them and are just so desperate to... Raven, can you get the video link and just put it in the chat for me? If you thought that my commentary on the video was interesting, go watch the original video. Josh also links to another creator called Kira TV, who also talks about Ashes of Creation. If you're interested in that, it's in the comments of this video. A new MMO is never going to come out, in my opinion. I don't think gamers have the mental willpower to handle an MMORPG nowadays. The median age for World of Warcraft, and I'm sure Final Fantasy XIV players, is probably in their late 20s. Because as far as I know, I've never actually met a child in Final Fantasy XIV. I've never met anyone under like 25 who plays Final Fantasy XIV. And that's just how it is. I'm sure there are people who are very young who play those games. But I'm sure that they're just built different. And I think in 10 or 15 years time, World of Warcraft may finally shut down. Final Fantasy may finally shut down. And games like those won't exist anymore. Maybe not. Maybe there'll be one or two that still survive, but I think ultimately it'll just be gacha games. Like your Genshins, like your Enfields, like your Wuthering Waves. And those will be what people mainly play. And maybe those games might have more like friend mechanics to actually interact with other players, but they'll never be MMOs. And that kind of sucks because I like MMOs. I've always liked MMOs. But as long as there's a game with a community for me to play in, I'll just play that. Like VR chat. And yeah, that's depressing. As someone who loves MMOs, that's depressing. But it is what it is. And thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe down below. Does hitting the notification bell do something? Maybe just press that if you're already pressing all the buttons. Leave a comment. Do you like MMOs? Do you give a crap about MMOs? Do you have the attention span for them? How do you feel about grinding in video games? Let me know. I'd love to hear. I respond to almost all my comments on YouTube. Okay, we are officially done reacting.